Billionaire investor Ray Dalio. So it was crazy. Ian said this in the group chat, but I actually had put it in my story like 2 minutes before he sent it in the group chat. He made news. He wrote a new book, and he says that America's decline will not only upend portfolios, but it will upend lives. He's predicting that the economic decline of America will lead to a war. He even said a civil war. He said it's a 30%.
Civil? I thought he said just a
if you look on the other one that I posted, he says it's a 30% chance of a civil war. That is a little too far, I think. But he's saying that the China's strength, America's weakening of the dollar, inflation, putting so much capital out there, our debt has jeopardized national security and will lead to the downfall of this empire.
Polarization, widening wealth gaps, inflation, and the fact that China can compete with us, like really, and
not competing, they're winning.
That's something some people may argue surpass us.
Yep. And what's the number one movie in China right now? Somebody put it in chat. Because now you have the propaganda side, me being on the marketing side. If you study the history of PR with Edward Bernays, which is Sigmund Freud's relative, the number one movie in China right now is a war movie about how they defeat us.
Is it really? Wow.
Oh, baby.
And so, watching Pixar movies.
And on top of that, in 1 month, Elon, Bezos, and Jack have sold a considerable amount of their portfolios and telling you that it's for tax reasons. Okay. The last time this happened was right before the crash of 2020. They're telling you the writing is on the wall that a pullback or hard crash is going to come very, very soon in the next probably 2 years, which I've been telling you guys for the last probably 12 or 13 months. So
let me ask you this, because I get these random thoughts sometimes. And as I was coming over here, I just had a random thought, like, we put so much money, especially as you start to get more and more money in your brokerage account. And, you put money in the brokerage account and you're putting this money into the bank and all that. What happens? What happens if this thing just falls apart? And it's like, I don't know. Like, what if I know it's a very slim chance, it was always a doomsday situation.
But you always have to plan for those events. Yeah.
So should you have physical cash? Should you have gold bars? Like, what is your
gold bars? People say that about gold bars. Like, what can you actually trade them for if we're in a disaster area? You actually put your family in more danger having cash and gold on hand in the environments in which we grew up.
So you're saying is it like an I Am Legend situation, or like what are we talking?
But I mean, I don't want to be like a doomsday, obviously, but it's something to consider, because especially when you start to have a lot of money. Let's say 80% of your wealth is on, whatever portfolio. It's an app, right? What happens? What happens if what happens if anything happens? What something happens?
You have to make sure. This is a good question. You have to have your money in a brokerage that is well capitalized. So if there is a run on the brokerage, which is different from a run on the bank, do they have enough reserves for your trade still to be able to go through? Also, this is what I'll tell you guys, mark off 50% from the highs and 75% from the highs. Those are the places in which you want to buy. Then you need to look at the companies they've acquired, the founders and chairmen, to see, have they bid at other banks or brokerages in which they have went under and they got bought? Because if so, chances are very high that they're going to go under. That's why I love TD Ameritrade. I know if anything happens, it would take an act of God for them to go under. It's different. Now, if you got a little smaller rinky-dink brokerage, money may not be there tomorrow. For those of you that trade on a non-top 10 platform, you should probably max out at maybe $500,000 or $600,000 in trading profits inside of there in case. And also read like the actual disclaimers that they give you. What happens if the market goes under? You have to be mindful of these things.
Yeah, real quick. So we're talking top brokerages, and obviously we're not sponsored by any of them, but we're talking TD, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, E-Trade, perhaps. Are we talking those? When you're saying Rinky Dink, saying anything outside of those?
Robinhood is still safe too.
Shout out to Robinhood.
I'm just asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend.
Shout out to
Vlad. Robinhood's good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're good.
Robinhood's solvent. They're solvent.
Yeah. Anything else? You have to know. This is why I say you have to study everything. And I'm going to say it again. No company is responsible for making you rich or protecting your money. That is your job. So where you choose to put your money has an impact on how well you're going to do. And here's the thing. Call them and ask them, how solvent are you in case the market has a 45% decline over a 30-day period? Call, ask. The answers are really fascinating sometimes when you actually do call. I don't just put on the jacket and say I'm the greatest of our era just because. Call. I've called every bank, every brokerage on earth. That's why I pick the ones that I do. Even with Ninja Trader, I know there's a certain level of protection that they have. If the market goes under, that they'll still have enough liquidity for me to be able to trade in the wildest of markets, even if we draw back 60% from today's highs. Call and find out.
Here's another thing. Speaking about Virgil, you have to have your estate plan in order. And part of that is actually, so, a lot of us, all right, so you're trading on these apps all day and you say you have a lot of money. And let's say anything can happen. Let's say you die, right? Who even knows you have an account? Who knows your password? Who knows the information? So these are all things that you got to think about. Like, you should have all of this stuff written out,
especially for your wallets.
That's a fact.
Crypto wallet.
I'm glad you said that.
Crypto wallets for sure.
I did that. I actually did that. My wife has the passwords to all the brokerage accounts. I told the event, if anything happens, sell everything and then call Shotty after. That's the plan.
Yeah. That's a good that's a good
plan.
Yeah, it is. But you should also, to take it a step further, you should have a safety deposit box in a bank that somebody else should have access to. Because you never know what could happen.
Right.
So people have, they give their lawyer access to information, and then they'll give their spouse access to information. So 2 people have access.
Everybody watch the lawyer, to be honest, too.
Yeah, like a casino.
Can't take that. What was the guy behind stage at Investors? You need a friend like that to watch your lawyer. I'm not telling you guys hypothetically. I've known somebody who trusted their lawyer, and then all of a sudden, a lot of assets came up missing post-death. Be mindful, because now, especially if you give them power of attorney over your estate. Trust me. Go ask them. Like even when you guys have estate planning or attorneys, have you ever actually did reference checks and call clients and say, hey, did they do a good job with their family when the other person in their family died? A lot of this stuff is preventable, but people don't call. You have to call and check and screen and get your references to make sure everything is good.
And definitely add beneficiaries to everything that you have. Bank account, retirement account, brokerage account. You should have a beneficiary, and you should tell the beneficiary that they are the beneficiary, because it's kind of pointless to have a beneficiary and they don't know it. The insurance company's not just randomly going to call somebody and say, hey, you can't just rely on that. So
and please, I know this is a story that you tell, a story of caution. If you are married and get divorced, please make sure that you update your beneficiaries.
Or not. Oh, baby.
Please do. You want to tell them the story?
Yeah, it was a guy that was, I think he was like a New York firefighter, New York police department, and long story short, he had a pension, he had a life insurance policy, all of that, and he got divorced, and he was remarried for another 20 years after he got divorced, and he died, and the ex-wife got the insurance money, got the pension, got everything, because he never changed the beneficiary from when he originally started working at the job 40 years ago. So he had a whole new family and everything. And the ex-wife didn't give the new wife anything. She didn't give her anything. Well, that's debatable. but
man, everything that happens, good or bad, is your fault. I'm gonna tell you the real. Everything. So now you get cussed out in death because you didn't take time to transfer papers over, but you had time to be on YouPorn. Hey, I'll see you, King. You trying to vibe with something after Apollo? Hey, baby girl, let me buy you a drink. Update your paperwork, fam. Don't be on here saying on the mic, update your paperwork. My business straight while you're playing. My network straight while you're playing. Go update your damn paperwork, boy. Come on, man. What we doing? I did not come to play.
Yo, can we get a hashtag of that? Update your paperwork, boy.
Listen, ladies, make your man have a paperwork party. Not the kind if he got in trouble, but the kind if he's straight.
I'm dead.
Paperwork party.
I'm dead.
Xander, my mama, my dad, my brother get everything if I go. Hey, it is what it is. Update your paperwork.
Boy,
It's extremely, extremely important. So
yo,
make sure you guys have those family meetings.
Shout out to Carlos and everybody at 85 who been helping me on my jokes. Love y'all.
Nobody wins when the family feuds, yo.
That is a fact. That is a fact.